Hi there, it's Nicole here today, and I have a Mix and Match Monday card project to share with you. And this is one of my very favorite techniques, is taking stamps and dies from several different companies and manufacturers and combining them to create a truly unique card. I love going through my supplies and finding things that will work together. I am using several stamp sets from Mommy Lhey here today. I've got Sweater Weather, the little girl. The bear is from Berry Bear. And the porcupines are from the Doodled Porcupine stamp set. And what I like to do, you probably saw there at the beginning of this video, is I like to lay out my supplies to make sure they're all going to kind of work and fit together. Now, the Mommy Lhey stamps do not have coordinating dies, so I'm going to be doing some easy masking here. Masking definitely doesn't have to be really hard. I know a lot of times it can appear a little bit more difficult because you've got to do a little fussy cutting to create a mask, but really most of the time, unless you're going to do some inking or something in the background, you do not have to create a mask for the whole design. So I'm going to show you here. I started with the girl because she is going to be in the forefront. She is from Sweater Weather, and then I'm going to just put a little piece of masking paper here and stamp that again and cut her out. And I did end up cutting her all the way out. She's very simple. There were no crazy lines on like there can be for some images. And then I'm going to take my porcupine holding the balloon and stamp him next. So he's going to just be slightly behind her with that balloon hanging off the edge of the design. I am going to die cut this particular panel down just a little bit as well. Now the next, my other porcupine is going to be in the forefront with the bears being back behind both the girl and the porcupine. So I'm laying those both out to kind of gauge exactly where I want him to go. Go ahead and clean my balloon holding porcupine, and then I've stamped the other one and created a mask. And this is where I only created a partial mask. I only need that area where the bear is going to overlap. So I'll do him next. I'll stamp that. Again, the bears are from the Berry Bear stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that a couple times, make sure I get a really good impression. The Misty makes this so easy. I just love it. I can remove my masks, and you can see now that I've got this panel of these cute little critters all in a row. Now I'm going to take one of the most functional dies I have, and it's such a simple one. It's the Pretty Pink Posh Stitched Borders 2 Straight die. This is going to give you a panel of whatever width you want, which I absolutely love. So I've die cut it a couple times, and you can see here on the top that I've cut off the balloon, and that's okay. I've got another little scrap of paper, and I'm going to just stamp that balloon on that because I want the balloon to hang off the edge of this strip. Next, I am ready to color everything in. This is quite a bit of coloring. I just popped in or turned on Netflix is what I was actually doing, and watched a couple of shows, or I don't think it even took that long, to color in all of my images. I started with a girl. She's got some cute little pink earmuffs there. She is kind of a more winter themed image, or would work for holidays as well. Although her stamp set doesn't necessarily say holidays. I think she is so fun. And this is a great thank you card to send during those winter months. Maybe even as a holiday thank you card if you're still needing to send some of those out. But for whatever, it works great. So I colored in her earmuffs and her skin, and I went ahead and skipped over to the bear. I was still contemplating what colors I wanted to use for her outfit. When I'm coloring critters in and they're very neutral in color, I really wanted to make her outfit pop. Just to kind of bring your eye in, add some color to the image, because I'm going for a very black-white theme. Pretty simple, I guess I would say, in design, but I want certain little elements or pops of color throughout the card to really add interest. So I colored in my large bear first, and as I colored that, I determined I wanted to do her leggings in aqua and pink, and her sweater in red. I love this color combination. I love it in particular for Valentine's Day. So where Valentine's Day falls within the winter months, this would also be another great card to send maybe even after the Valentine's Day holiday. I love those cute little striped leggings. And then her sweater, of course. I'm going to deepen and darken some color there with a little R39. And I think it looks like she has little Ugg boots on, so I'll color those in a little bit as well. I went ahead and moved on. I skipped around a lot on her, trying to determine what color hair I wanted to do, and of course her clothes and all of that. But I knew I wanted to do the porcupines in shades of warm gray, and then pull in a little of an earth tone color, the E47, into the quills of the porcupine, if you will. So I am simply feathering in my warm gray colors here after I did the body of the porcupine. And then I am feathering in that brown you can see. And this is really going to add interest to my porcupine. To figure out how I wanted to color him, I just Googled porcupine and pulled up an image and basically picked my colors from that. I did not take a ton of time. I just knew that I wanted to pull in a little bit of brown, and I think it gives it a little bit more of a realistic look. I am kind of filling in areas with some of those lighter warm gray colors, blend out the body of him one more time, and I just love how he turned out. I'm going to do the exact same thing for my second porcupine with the warm gray colors for the body, some kind of lighter color to start with, then my very darkest, the warm gray 8, blend that out with a couple of the lighter or more mid-tone, I guess I want to say, warm gray markers. R20 is what I used for the cheeks so it would show up. I often use R00, but it doesn't show up with these darker colors, so R20 worked for that. I did use one of the pink colors I used from the accessories on the girl for the flower. And then feathering in, again, my little porcupine quills or hair here. Started with my very lightest warm gray 3 that I'm using, then feathering in my darker colors. So starting with my brown first, the E47, then warm gray 8, going all the way around, warm gray 6 now to really blend it even better. But I'm not doing the circular motion. I don't want to get rid of that feeling of the hair or the quills for that. Next, I'm going to move on to the hair. I went all over with E53, and then I'm feathering her hair as well with E55 and E57. So I went lightest, mid-tone, and then my darkest color. And if the dark color gets a little too harsh, I like to go back with my mid-tone color and maybe feather that out just a tiny bit if it needs it. I'm also going to use the E53 and 55 for her little, what I'm calling her Ugg boots, which I'll do here in a second, I guess. The smaller bear, I'm going to do with the same colors that I did for the larger bear, but I'm going to do those just a little bit lighter. So I'm not going to pull in that E57 or E44 quite as much as I did for the larger bear, so I can keep it a little bit lighter, a little bit softer looking. Just keep blending that out to get the color the way I wanted. I even went back to the larger bear and went in and added some darker shading to really define the smaller bear laying in front. Once I have him colored, I am going to color in her boots, again with the E53 and E55. I think I even added in a little tiny bit of E57 just for some shading, but I did a lot of blending. And then add a little green dot and I'm going to color my balloon in with those same red colors that I used for her sweater. And I wanted to do the just little partial piece of it there just in case any of it happens to show. I don't want it to be white underneath, even though it should be completely covered. And then I'm going to color in my balloon with the R24, R29, and R39. And then I will fussy cut that balloon. I'm going to go in with my gray markers and just add a nice little line here. It grounds the images, gives them the illusion of standing there, gives some shadows. I love to do that. I'll start with my darkest, go to a mid-tone, and then with my lightest color to really blend it out. Then I've got a card base, and instead of doing a panel on top of the card base, I'm going to try to stamp this with my Misty one time right on the card base, just so I don't have another layer. When you're going to use a red rubber stamp, you need to remove the insert from your Misty. So I'm just going to carefully lay my card in there. I'm using my very favorite background, the Simon Says Stamp Tiny Alphabet background. I love this background. It is so versatile. And I'm going to ink it up with black ink for that really crisp black text background that you see on the finished card. So I'm using the Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. Ink that up really well. Again, I really can't use the magnets here because they will cause an area not to get stamped. So I was just really careful to keep my card right where I wanted it to go. And then I'm going to press that down really well. And you'll see when I lift this up, I'm going to have a great text background. I just love it. Go ahead and move that over to the side. And I'll give you an idea what it's going to look like here with that cute little border. I love all of these little images. They're so cute. And there's my little red balloon that I fussy cut. Then I've got this thanks die and a greeting from the Hero Arts Thanks Stamp and Die set. And I am going to stamp the phrase "for your kindness" on black cardstock, sprinkle it with white embossing powder, and then heat set that. So that little strip's going to be right below the strip of all the colored images. Then I've got a scrap of fun foam that I have used on another project that already had white cardstock on one side. This is one of my favorite techniques, is to create a dimensional greeting. I'll pop it out, and I'm going to add color with the Candied Apple Distress ink. Again, really pulling on those pops of red for my card. Ink that up. I'm going to pop out all those little pieces. I just stuck it to the backing for my cling stamp because I can clean it with a cloth, and I didn't want it to stick permanently. I'll pull all of those little pieces out, and I'm going to attach that right to my card. So first I need to attach my strip right above the black strip with the white embossed greeting, and then I will attach my dimensional die cut greeting. I'm going to attach this whole thing with some foam adhesive, so I'll just back it with some foam adhesive strips. Adhere that directly to my text background card base. Want to make sure I get that lined up exactly. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of foam adhesive where the balloon overlaps into the background. Secure that to the card, trim off anything that's hanging off a side now with my scissors. Now the card could be done right now, but I always like to add a few finishing touches. So I've got my black glaze pen for eyes, noses, the heart embellishment on her sweater. A white pen, opaque pen. I'm adding some little dots to the critter's cheeks. Little highlight on my balloon. Then some glossy accents for my balloon to really make that balloon pop. I'm going to pop some of those little air bubbles with a straight pin. And again, the card could be finished, but I decided to add some heart confetti, and I have all this leftover paper heart confetti using the Mama Elephant confetti die. It's one of my very favorites. It creates amazing star and heart confetti. perfectly sized. And this is from the Lipstick Red Simon Says Stamp cardstock. And I am attaching it kind of randomly throughout the card. I'm going to put one at the end of my greeting as well. And once I have all of these attached, I'm going to take some glossy accents to all of the hearts and then let everything dry. And this thanks for your kindness card will be all finished. Thanks for joining me today for a Mix and Match Monday card showcasing how to mix and match stamps and dies from different stamp sets, die sets, companies for a really fun individual card. The supplies I've used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos showcasing stamps used from different companies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.